In an argumentative research essay, you research a topic and then say something about it. That's all there is to it. But some students refuse to understand the real definition of the word argument. When you think of argument, you most likely think of a debate between two opposing sides, but this assignment refers to another definition of argument. The definition of argument really is a coherent series of reasons, statements, or facts intended to support or establish a point of view. Along these same lines, according to the authors of a book, Everything's an Argument can be anything that expresses a point of view. So in other words, an argument is an idea that is supported by facts and reason. So again, the word argument means an idea supported by facts and reason. Before you write a single word of your essay, you must first change your concept of argument from a two-sided debate to simply an idea that is supported by reason and facts. Okay, listen to this next statement. Understand it, believe it. An argument is not always a two-sided debate. This means that your topic does not have to be controversial for you to make an argument about it. Again, an argument is not always a two-sided debate. While it's possible and maybe likely that you will disagree with others about your topic, this is not essential for you to make an argument. I used to use a textbook for this class called They Say, I Say. In chapter 4 of that book, and there's a handout of it online, the authors offer 3 ways you can make an argument. These are yes, no, and okay, but. Yes meaning like, I agree with what they're saying and here's more evidence why. No meaning, they're wrong and here's why. And okay, but meaning, I see where they're going and I agree partly, but I want to change a little bit. In your argument, you simply need to have something to say that you think someone needs to hear. And then think of which of those 3 basic argument types best fits. In other words, you need to have an audience in mind that needs to hear what you have to say. Your audience may already be inclined to agree with you, and you are simply adding reasons why they should. Your audience may already be interested in your topic, and you are simply giving them interesting ideas or facts they're not aware of. For example, let's suppose you're writing an essay about sleep. If you haven't been paying attention so far, you might say, but no one is saying that sleep isn't important, so I should change my topic. Wrong. Instead of seeing sleep as a two-sided debate that must have opposite sides, try to figure out the thing about sleep that someone needs to understand. Maybe you have a friend who doesn't sleep enough, but they know they should. Maybe you don't sleep enough, so say something like this. Most people already know that they should get enough sleep, but new research suggests that sleep is more important than most people know. Notice that you're not engaging in a black and white debate like, some people say sleep is bad, but I say it's good. That's insane. Instead, you are simply saying that something is important for someone to know, and you're telling them why. If you found something that people need to hear about, and you've identified who needs to hear it, and if you have reasons or evidence for this, then you have all the parts for a thesis statement. Refer to the thesis notes handout to put your thesis statement together. It will look something like this. They say plus I say equals reasons. Here's an example. Everyone knows sleep is important. That's the they say. But new research suggests that sleep may be more important than most people realize. And that's the I say. And so before you try to force your essay into a two-sided black and white debate, thus willfully ignoring everything I've been trying to teach you here, refer back to this. Ask yourself, what do people need to hear about my topic? And who needs to hear it? But here's a warning. Do not say everyone, meaning do not say everyone is your audience. Saying everyone is lazy at best and dishonest at worst. Instead, figure out what person, what people, or what groups need to hear this. If you don't take the time to think hard about these questions now, your essay will be much harder to write later and it will suck as a result. First, figure out what you think people need to hear. Second, figure out exactly who needs to hear it. Third, go back to those 3 argument types, yes, no, okay, but, and figure out which of these best fits your argument. Now by this point, hopefully you've done some research. If so, your next step is to organize it into your synthesis chart. For your synthesis chart, select 6 sources, only 6, that seem to be most directly talking to one another about your topic. These could be academic, they could not be, they could be some combination, I don't care. For your common threads, think really, really hard about what all your sources are actually saying. Warning, Do not list pros and cons as common threads. Instead, think of subtopics. For example, let's say your topic is the importance of sleep. If you're a lazy thinker who is trying to cut corners, you might be tempted to put pros of sleep as one common thread. Don't. Instead, think about what all your sources are actually talking about. Think about their reasons, and let the sources dictate what the common threads should be. Perhaps after you've read all your research, you realize that one thing all the articles in your research talk about is the short-term effects of sleep deprivation. There you go, that's a common thread. There is absolutely no way to know what your common threads should be without actually researching and actually reading the articles. If you put shitty common threads, your essay will be much harder to write later, and your essay will suck as a result. Okay, another thing. Don't worry about knowing all of the common threads before you start your chart. Instead, start with one common thread and trust your brain that as you work on the first common thread, it will find another. So what should you put in the boxes of your synthesis chart? I strongly recommend that you put actual quotes. True, this makes your work harder now, but it makes writing your essay much easier later, and it will be much better as a result, because you won't have to go back and try to find your quotes, but they'll already be organized for you. There is a possibility that you may find that a few of your sources don't talk about one of your common threads. I have 3 things to say about this. First, you might have bad common threads, especially if there are a lot of gaps in your chart. Change your common threads. Second, if you're confident in your common threads, you are allowed to have a few gaps on your chart. As a rule of thumb, do not have more than 3 or 4 gaps. Third, for the high achievers, if you do have gaps, but you want to do the best job you can on your chart, in the gaps, write about why the author did not address this common thread. Why didn't they talk about that? And you'll just do that in your own words, but describe why you think that is. So if you've done all that work, now you'll have a completed synthesis chart. If you do a good job on this, I promise you'll be glad you did. Okay, refer to the Index of Templates handout from They Say I Say and decide which of these templates best fit your sources and how you want to respond. While I don't recommend picking all your templates and quotes at random, it can be a helpful exercise to pick a quote at random and pick a template at random and see what you come up with. It's kind of like Mad Libs. It's a great idea for a date. Okay, if you've done all this, you'll have a bunch of research and you'll have a completed synthesis chart. And you've started to use the templates to think about what you want to say. Now comes the writing. Refer to the essay structure handout. We use this same handout in the rhetorical analysis essay. We'll use it again here. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Reach out to me if you have any questions at all.